Okay. Good morning, all. So I hope you are audible. So first of all, I welcome you all for this final day of the AGENTVERSE hackathon or bootcamp session. So I hope you already got that information. The date has been changed from 7/8 to 30/31. So we are going to have the final contest on 30/31. So guys, this is the last day of preparation. So whatever the questions that you have, please load it. At the end of the session, your expert is there who's here to help you. And all the previous recordings is already shared in a single playlist with the AI team. So you have already have all the resources with you. And also, I hope Veerakumar has already shared his LinkedIn ID so that you can also interact with him in LinkedIn and you can ask questions. So right now he is available with you. So if you have any questions, you can post it in the chat so that he can help you on clearing that. So welcome you, sir. Over to your session. Session is over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So, hello everyone. So, actually, this is our fourth day, and this is the last session. So, which we are discussing. So, I get to know the information from the professor that we have the fourth year students who are also taking part in this for the last day. So, in the last three sessions, we have gone through the multiple stuffs, and at the last of we have till the session till 11:15. During the time of 11 or 10:50, I will be start and give a entire brief of all the things what all we have discussed and what we have learned so far and how you need to implement that in your upcoming hackathon, and even though you need to utilize that over in your interviews and the relevant steps. Okay, so we can start for this today session. So actually I have planned to have a Crew AI, which is a multi-agent framework for this day. So why? Because we people are seeing LangChain and Llama Index, and even by utilizing Hugging Face, prompt engineering, and relevant stuffs in the previous days of session. But even though right now the evaluation of AI is turning into a multi-agent frameworks, so we have a end-to-end different frameworks. During the previous time, we have dates in the time of August 1st to and 6 and 7 somewhat. So right now we have the one of the best framework for creating a multi-agent, which is also under the open source framework, which is Crew AI. So we can discuss that briefly in this session, and I have gone through with multiple examples. And in the previous sessions, we have gone through with an IPNB files, which is Google Colab. But right now, in this time, we are going to utilize a different framework, which is a platform, which is a Google GitHub's code spaces to have a same Visual Studio experience over that. And you people, if you have an idea on GitHub code spaces, that is fine. If not, please try to have the look on this. And same as also, you can also access my code base from that GitHub URL too. Okay. And end of the day, end of the session, I will be providing one of the link to you people. So I have created a web URL. So it is a kind of a website. By the step by step, you are achieving this. You people can able to master the Crew AI. Okay, so it is a kind of a basic project, and instead of going with the ideations and same as the project stuffs, right now we are going to work on a single project. So it's a kind of a project based learning. Okay, so in this session we are going to create a multi agent where it is mentioned as AI powered code review system. Okay, so it will have a developer, reviewer, and tester. Okay, so we can just create, why I'm just creating this as a project means, so right now in all companies we have this role, developer, tester, and then QA reviewer, code reviewer, like that. So while if I'm just creating that as a project, and we can utilize an AI for that, and we are creating that as a multi-agent project, it might be very helpful. And even you people can also access this web URL. I can share it after the session. So where I have created around, as of now I have just created with a M8 module 1 to module 8 steps, where you can able to provide a dynamic user input. But over the module 9s, I was just working on that. So if that has been completed, I will let you know, guys, or even that is works in the CI/CD. So by that you will get a new updates. Okay. So right now we can start. Before start, I can go with the normal explanation of Crew AI. So what is Crew AI and why we are utilizing that like that. So it's kind of a theory part from for 10 around 10 to 15 minutes. And after that we can just start with our code base. Okay. 1 second. Okay, so for today's session, we are planning to see a Crew AI, which is a multi-agent framework where you can able to build multiple agents to work for a specific task. In a LangChain and a Llama index, we people are working with a single agent. For example, what we can say, if I'm just going to build an AI framework, for example, a code review system means a single agent can work as a developer, reviewer, and also the tester. But what is the major issue means it might have a issues. I can just go with one of an example actually. So you can think of there is a team member named A. Okay, so we are assigning developing task, testing task, code reviewing task. Okay, so we are assigning all the tasks to one single person. So if it is like one Okay, so we are assigning a developing task, testing task, and code reviewing task to a single person. It might be a burden, and even though if we are utilizing an AI tool in this place, we are utilizing team member named as A, which is AI. Okay, so for example, in this part, for this AI part, I am utilizing ChatGPT for an example. Okay, this AI is ChatGPT means so this ChatGPT is alone going to work on developing part, testing, and code review, right? So a single AI framework or a single AI model is going to work for the all the relevant stuffs, right? So then it might be an issue. Why I'm saying means, for example, I'm just giving this as an example. You can think of is any AI knows, for example, we have a code as 2 plus 3 is we know that is 5, but one single agent thinks as the answer as 6. Okay, 2 plus 3 is 6, like that the model A model is thinking means this is the process where development completed. Development completed where the sorry, so the code has been created with 2 plus 3, it needs to retrieve as 5, but it is providing a result as 6. Okay, chat gpt completed the development and it is going for the testing. For testing also we are utilizing the same AI, which is chat gpt. By that the single model who know the wrong answer itself, again it is going for the testing. There also it will check and provide that this wrong answer as a correct answer, right? So because why I'm saying this, this is a person. For example, I know cloud computing is for full stack development. Okay, so I'm just saying we will think like cloud computing is for a cloud based one. We all know that is for a cloud, right? So AWS is a cloud. Okay, but what I am thinking, AWS is for a full stack framework. It's like a MERN stack framework means even I am testing that, I will be saying that AWS is a full stack framework. While I'm just testing the core framework, and even I am saying that AWS is a full stack framework, right? So even a single AI model who knows a different answer, so if it is going through the relevant processes, it will give a wrong answers only. Okay, so there the place evolved where multi-agent and multi-model multimodal agents takes place. Okay, so what is the usage of this multi-agent and multi-model? So for example, here we have a AI team member A, which is an acting as an AI, and that AI is a chat GPT. We are assigning a developing, testing, and code reviewing also for one single person. By that, it will make a burden to that. At the same time, what we are going to do, so for a chat GPT is going to check the development, testing, and then code review. Okay, so in this place, what we are doing, we are partitioning the work to a different places or different agents. For example, for developing, one agent will work, and for testing, one agent will work, and for the code reviewing, another agent will work. Okay, and even we have an option to go with a multi-model agents. Multi-model agents means, for example, what we can say, so development, it goes with Claude. Okay, so and testing, it goes with Codex, and code review, it goes with Kimi. For example, I'm just saying, okay, by that, the development part where the Claude created will be tested by Codex, which is an another AI framework or another AI model, which has a different ability. By that, if Claude made any mistakes, that will be found out in the Codex, right? Because this architecture and this memory is different, and the other two memories and architecture is different. By that, it will easily helps us to find different answers. Okay, if we are going with the same thing actually. So if we are going with the Claude for testing and Claude for the code review, so then it might be an issue. Why? Because Claude, if made any issues in the development during the testing, also it think like that is the correct one, and over the code review also it will think that as a correct one, right? So my suggestion is to build that with the multi-agent and multi-model agents with the different frameworks. You can have a different things like open router, you can have the Grok, and you can have the together AI, and even we have a Gemini. So like that you can utilize that, or even you can go with an Olama and download a local AI models and utilize for a different stuffs. Okay, so but as of today, we are going to create a multi agents by utilizing a one single model, which is Gemini's model. Okay, so I'm just utilizing the Gemini's model. I can just go with the briefings of the Screw AI first, and then we can start moving with the code base. Okay, so Crew AI. So Crew AI is the one. It is a collaborative AI platform enabling the multi-agent coordination. Okay, so I already mentioned that we can able to create for a one single goal. We can split that one work into a multiple agents, and that multiple agents works on, and together it provides the final result. Okay, so combines the autonomous agents knowledge retrieval and orchestration. For example, we already mentioned, for a, we are just going to do that as a project right now. So we have a developer agent. So once the developer completed the workflow, that thing output will be shared as an input to the another agent, which is code reviewer. The code reviewer agent will check all the code which has been generated in the developer agent part, that will be reviewed. If there is any issue, that will be reverted back to the developer to work on that issue and fix it back. Okay, now once the issue has been fixed, then it will be provided to the code reviewer again, and code reviewer checks, and if that is also passed, then it will be moved to the QA. Okay, which is a tester. Okay, that is the kind of an autonomous process we can have over the Crew AI. By that, once it has been received a request, and if there is any issue, that will be reverted back to the previous agent and gets the code updated, and the workflow continues. Okay, once the complete workflow continues completed, we can get the output. Okay, so and it is designed for enterprise and complex problem solving. Why? Because if we are preparing for some single small agents, that is fine, we can think this Crew is a big framework. But over an companies, Crew AI, Autogen, these are all the multiple multi-agent frameworks the people are right now utilizing in the market. Okay, so and it supports the rack style memory and tool integration too, and it also scalable and modular architecture, allowing addition or removal of agents. So we can just say like an AWS part. So if for example AWS are like, even you people have a postpaid sim, right? So we people are going to utilize an n number of GBs, and at last of the month we are going to pay the money. Okay, for the consumption we are going to pay the money. Same like you can have a scalability here. Once you need a multiple agents, you can add up, and if you are not required that agent for that moment, you can delete that. Okay, so it is a real-time communication and coordination between agents for dynamic task handling. I already mentioned we have a three agents, means a development, code reviewer, and QA. it will work accordingly, and it creates the real-time communication between the agents and gets the output and gets the feedback, and it gets the code updated. Okay, so we can go with then customized agent roles and workflows and tailored to different business domains. It's completely we are just going to provide the role, goal, user story, and relevance test. I can show that in the code base. As part of now, you can understand like for an each and every agent, we are going to assign a goal and we are going to assign a task. Okay, so then this is the major understanding of crew A. So on key benefits, it is the enhanced collaboration between specialized AI agents and autonomous handling of repetitive and complex tasks. So if in case if you have any complex task, we can split that into two or three agents work, and then by utilizing that, we can go with an autonomous handling. By that, agent A needs to work, and we can go with the sequential pattern also. So A work done, then it needs to move to an B, and if B works done, then it needs to move to C. Okay, the loop continues. Once the complete workflow completed, we can get an output. Okay, so it is a scalable multi-agent architecture, and where we can able to go with the real-time decision making and knowledge sharing. This is the major key benefit from Crew AI. So for example, we already mentioned we have a developer agent and testing agent. I'm just explaining with the two agents example. So developer had around 1,000 lines of code. So and in this place, testing over the testing, it found 5 errors in different 5 lines. Okay, so five that so we have the 5 errors in 5 different lines. So what we can do right now, so in this place our accuracy, our real-time decision may takes place. Okay, the agent will think of, sorry, 1 second. Okay, so the agent will think of and get the code and what needs to be updated. It takes the own decision and it provides the updated code. Okay, so for even also we can have the whether the testing done. For example, if we have a 3 steps, okay, so code review agent also. For example, the developer completed and testing is checking actually, and we need to have an admin agent where it will allocate the task like a super and master slave concept. So for which agent I need to allocate this work. Okay, so for example, if there isn't a 5 errors, so it needs to allocate to the developer or code review. It will automatically detect that workflow and assign the task, and it takes the decision during the workflow. Okay, so these are all the main key benefits, and you can see this is the main workflow. So these are all the agent roles and responsibilities, where we have a coordinator oversees task, aggregate results, and assign subtask. As I mentioned right now, so we have a master slave concept. So you can able to have a coordinator who can see the task. For example, if I already have a code, I need to test it only, so it needs to assign that to a tester agent. It need not to provide that to a developer agent, right? So we have a coordinator or a master agent where it will provide the task, and we have a worker or executor, which are the slaves. So it perform the specific subtasks, and we have a retriever, analyzer, and feedback manager. Retriever means if we people are going to have a end-to-end vector DBs, which we have discussed in the previous. We have the llama index, if for example where we have the rag framework. So over the rag we are retrieving the results, we need to store it somewhere, which is a pine cone, or even we can have the fias or chroma db. So the where it needs to access the knowledge from there, and it needs to provide the results. And analyzer, where it validates and processes the data, and feedback manager and communicator, scheduler, planner, and monitor and observer. Like that, we have a different agent roles over the crew A formation. So you can have that word as crew. So crew means it is a group, right? A group of AI taking place for work on one single task. Okay, so that is the major workflow. 1 second. Okay, so right now we have done with our theory part. So actually core principles, key features, and comparison. So these are all the different small informations actually. So what we can do over the code base, I can directly explain the things with you people. Okay, sorry. So I just created this as an web, and you can also access from this link. And I will be just create starting with the each and every lesson. If you people are following with your laptop, please try to follow the same with me, or else you can just look over and you can just work it and then after some time. Okay, so as the very first step, I'm just going to utilize GitHub's code spaces for this complete entire stuff. So I will be just creating a. We have a entire flow, each and everything, even without an instructor. If you are people seeing this one, you can able to get an entire workflow. I'm also explaining the same workflow right now. So we are going to, as a very first step, we are going to create an environment setup for a project. Okay, so you can think like you are entering into a company or an enterprise. So you people are going to start a project, and we are creating a new GitHub repository. So I'm just also parallelly creating a new one. So I just create as SCCE crew AI. Okay, I just created this as a new repository. Okay, so I will parallelly explain the stuffs with that website, and you people can access the same stuffs once after completion of this live. Okay. Okay, so we can work on this, and we have created right now. So we have created a name of SEC Crew AI, and we need to go with an open code, then code spaces. Like we need to open a code space right now. As first, I'm just doing the same workspace. I'm creating a new code space here, and I'm creating it, and it will create a web-based Visual Studio editor. You people can also go with your systems when if your system is that much powerful with having a relevant GPUs and CPUs. Even it is works and it is a lightweight framework alone. But even though as part of a new things, new cloud-based things, you people can stick with this. Okay, if required, you can also add your friend as a collaborator, and even they can also work on this parallelly with you. Let me change the color theme. Yeah. So right now, what we have done so far, we have created a GitHub repository. We have opened that code space, and we have created it, and we have opened the VS Code, which is lively running over my what is this, so over the website, and the terminal is ready. Okay, so as the very first part, you can think like you can have these things in an after session, so where you can provide the code spaces, which is a full Linux based system. It is not like your Visual Studio Code in your laptop, which is Windows based. Over this code spaces, it is following the Linux CLI. Okay, so then what we are going to do, we are just going to start our project. As the very first thing, if you are people starting with the things, try to have a virtual environment created, so where it helps us to work for the, for example, so you can see a visual environment is an isolated Python installation. It works inside your project folder. Without one, every package you install, it will be shared over the global environment, right? So if we have a two different projects or two different versions, it will impact that required stuffs. So we are just creating a new one. Okay. So I will be creating a new env Python nm. Okay, so it is loading. One second. Yeah, so we have created it. And after the creation of this, as the very first part we have created, so you can have an entire stuffs over, you can have an things. Python, it is an interpreter you just verified. M hyphen M env means it runs the VNV module, and dot .venv means a folder name of the new environment, which the leading dot hides it from the casual listing. Like that, you can get the entire stuff, each and every words over this website. Because as you, I'm thinking like you people have already worked with this virtual environment stuff, so I'm just directly going with the next one. So right now we are going to enable that. So we are giving that as source VNV and bin slash activate. We are activating the environment right now, and after activation you can able to see you people are right now working inside the virtual environment. Okay, so here is the place where this VNV bin activate, it helps us to switches your terminal onto the virtual environment Python. So by that, the relevant steps are required things which you people are right now working, it will be stored inside your virtual environment. Okay, fine. So and right now what I'm going to do as the next very next part, I'm going to upgrade my, so we are utilizing the code spaces, we don't know what version it utilizes, so I'm just upgrading the pip version. Sorry. Okay, so right now we have updated the pip version. During the previous time, we have around 23.2.1 version, and right now after an update, it will be updated as 26.1.2, and that is no need on that, but we need to have the latest pip version. Okay, fine. So if that has been done, so this is the next process, and we are upgrading that. By that, it replaces the older version, and we are installing the pip. Okay, fine. So you, if you people have an idea on this basic stuffs, that's fine. We can also have, it's like it's as the professor mentioned, it will be shared within all the classes. Maybe we can have a core department students also. If you people doesn't have an idea on that, please try to understand in this step pip install upgrade pip. We have a previous version and we just updated it. Okay, we just upgraded to the latest version available over the pip package, which is pypi. Okay, fine. So right now at the very next part, we are just going to install the relevant stuffs. So what we are going to do right now, we are, as part of now, we are utilizing the Google's Journey as I mentioned earlier. So I'm going to install that relevant stuff. So I can just copy this. So I'm just installing the Crew AI Google Gen AI. So where you can just think like we have the relevant stuffs related to the Google stuff, Google Gen AI part. It will be installed in your system. Okay. One second, it will take some time to install. And even one more thing, you can see here, we have just not created the git ignore right now. You people can able to access, it's like it's 3k plus commits are right now. So don't worry on that. We can add the git ignore later. So right now it is also calling that VNV files also. Okay, no worries. Once it has been done, we can just update it. Okay. In the parallel time, I can explain the next stuff. So after the Google Gen AI, which is the main API framework we are going to utilize. After that, if we need a next stuffs like tools, already have mentioned over the LangChain process, we have the tool section. We can have a tool calling also. So for example, even it's like an EMCP. Okay, so we are just having a tool right now in an over a web. By that, if required any tools over an internet, we just call that tool. By that, an AI can assign the work that to tool and utilizes that and provide the results. Okay, so this is a companion package of ready-made tools like web search, file readers, etc. So even if you people uses the cloud, you can check like if you need to create that as a document file, it will call some of the tools over an internet and install that in the system, and then it will works on. Okay, so I think, yeah, so this has been done. Okay, So next, what we are going to do, Crew AI is the modeler, a base package for model. So right now, what I'm going to do, we are going to install the next relevant package, which is pip install Crew AI tools. Okay, you can, you people can think, sir, even we can just go with the pip requirements.txt. By that, we can have the all the stuffs, right? Like that, you people may think, but I'm just going to do the same, but in a reverse process. So, and the very next, I'm going to install the python.env, so which helps us to work on that to provide the API key stored in the env environmental variable. So we have just downloaded that, and the very next one, this is the process where I'm just going to create a requirement.txt, but it helps us to with an easy process. I can just show this. You can also utilize, so when you are working, this freeze helps us to list every installed packages and its exact version. So you can see here right now we have the Crew AI tools 1.156, and we have the PyMo PDF which is 1.2.6, like that, right? So we have installed this in the means of their own package names, and after that we are by utilizing this freeze concept, we can freeze that in the name of requirements.txt file. Okay, by that it will create a requirement.txt file. Instead of you people creating the relevant stuffs, you can directly install all the relevant packages, and after that you can utilize that freeze. By that, these are all the packages right now. It has been installed by the previous comments. What are the comments we have utilized it so far? So we have gone through this Crew AI, Google Gen AI, Crew AI tools, and python.env. So the packages are the relevant packages which has been downloaded in this three, that will be stored right now in the requirement.txt. You people can see here it's been like around 149 plus packages has been installed in the previous three pip commands. Okay, so right now we are good with our requirements. So as the very first process, what we have done so far, we just created a repository, we have launched it, and we need to next check with the download that our requirements. We have done with our first module. Okay, so right now I'm just checking the present working directory, so which is SCCE Crew A, and utilizing this repositories folder, I'm going to work on the relevant stuffs. Okay, we are just working the print working directory, and the very next one, this is the basic common once you are getting started into the project, and we can have this in place. Okay, so at the very next one, I'm just verifying the Python version. Sorry. Okay, so we have already installed that. So right now, we people are good with the things. As part of this first part, what we have done so far means we just install the requirements, and we just have the present check the present working directory, and we have created the virtual environment and the relevant pip packages which are required for us. Okay, so and even if I just prepared this for a session, we already had this in our session, one of our session. So right now we are in a live session. You people can just post your answers, but even parallel time I can just go with the answers also. What does source vnv bin activate actually do? So we have a different option. It switches the current terminal session onto the virtual environments Python and pip, right? So it will change the terminal session to the virtual environment. And why should not vnv committed to good? Because it is large, machine specific, and also fully reconsiderable from the requirement.txt. So right now you people can able to see it's around 10k commits, but whether we are going to update that into a git, no. After that I can add the git ignore, and by that it will be not included. Okay, so and what is the purpose of pip freeze means to capture the exact install versions so that environment is reproducible. So we have gone with the different pip packages. By that, utilizing this freeze, so it will be stored an exact versions in the name of requirement.txt. This is the one we have completed so far. So right now, you can, these are the relevant stuffs. You, what is ritual environment, and why does every Python project need one, and what does PWD shows you, intermediate question and advanced question. So I just created in means of an interview purpose. We can just skip that. I will share this web link with you people. By that you can also access, instead of just relying on the hackathon project, you people can also go with the relevant stuff. Once you completed the project, you can have an idea, and even completing of one and one modules, you can just go with this beginner and intermediate question and try to answer it and check whether the answers are correct or not. Okay, so I'm just moving it to the next one. So I just mark this. Even you people can also have this. It's like a free code camps. I just created in means of designed in means of that free code camp session. So next I'm going into the next process, and very first one we just created a repository and basic installation. Right now we are going with the project files and folder structure. Okay, so what I'm going to do in this flow, I'm just going to create a env file and create git ignore files, and then we have created an empty 11 files. What are the code base and code structure we required for this project, and once that completed, we are going to check that the folder structure. Okay, so you people can think like how you can start a own project. Okay, so please do not rely with an AI models or an AI things. So you can we people are going to create an AI products, but you need to build that from our own scratch. Okay, by without utilizing any kind of AI models or like chat gpt Claude, we can just give a prompt, I need of this project. You can create a complete code, and you people can get that code and run in your system, and you will be showing an output. That is not a real AI things. Okay, so you people need to work from a scratch like this. As of now, I just gone with the requirements and a basic stuff. Right now, what I'm going to do, I will be going to create the flow. Is as part of this module, we will be going with this flow. Okay, so we are going to create a different files. Even people like students, actually they can go with the app.py alone, but we are just going with the split of multiple files. I can just show. So app.py is a single entry point of a whole application. We are just going to run this as a main application file. By that it will have a navigation and linking parts. By that it will check the agents py, task, crew setup and utils, and like that it will get in all the relevant stuffs from the other files and provide an output. Like we can say this is an html file. Okay, it will show an output like that. Okay, the purpose of this one is a single entry point of a whole application. It loads the environment, builds the llm, call the agent, task, crew factories and etc. So and we have another file we are just going to create, which is agents.py, where we are going to create our agent workflows. As I mentioned earlier, we are having this three stuff. So we have the development agent, testing agent and code review agent in this agent py file. Okay, so once this file has been completed, where we allocate an llm and relevant stuffs, and once that has been completed, we are moving into the task for the agents. Right now we have created, this is going to act as a developer agent. That is fine, but what task is going to perform, whether it is in a dynamic way or whether it is in the relevant predefined keywords. So for example, I'm just going to ask a create a factorial of number, means that task has been aligned in this place. Okay, so next, this is the main step. We have a agent and we have a task, but this crew setup.py act as the main file. Okay, it assemble the agent and task into a runnable crew. Runnable crew means this is the main agent or a super admin who can navigate the relevant task. Okay, so for example, if I'm going to create a factorial numbers code, then it will check which agent is better suited for this role, and it will allocate that into a agent, and it will check the task what need to be done, and by utilizing the task workflow it create the entire code. Okay, and the screw setup is the major folder where it helps us to entirely work and it act as a manager. Okay, so it will act as a manager and provide the relevant results. And next we have the utils, where it provide the final result to the disk. So actually we people are going to work on agents, task and crew setup will helps us to create a runnable code. That's fine. But after that, what we have in stuff, so we need to save the output. We are just giving an input and we need to get an any output, right? So by that we are going to save the output in means of py file and text file. So for that it will helps us to create a function, and we are just creating output folder where an entire code or which has been generated that will be stored here. And env file people may know, which is an environmental variable where it helps us to uh, assign our API keys or secret files. Yes. So and the requirement files which we have already created. Right now we have the responsibility. You can able to see. I just explained in this way. You can also see here. It's an entry point. Define all the agent. Define all the tasks and build and configure the crew, saving the result to the files. And this is the folder where the generated reports takes place. And we are going to store the API key and secrets. And in this place, we have a project dependencies. Right now, the project dependencies has been created so far. So I'm just moving forward with the next step. Right now, we are going to create the env file. You people can just create a env file. Okay, so as part of this env file, we are just creating that. Second, I just have this in a written way. We have done so far. Okay. So right now I'm just taking my API key. You people can access the API key from here. You need to navigate to AI Studio. So after navigating to the AI Studio, you will have an key like session here. Get an API key. You can have a default API key in this place. You can just click that API and utilize that. Okay. Just replace that in this place. By that we are going with our env right now. Okay, so we have aligned our API key. We can go with any Gemini models in this place, but as of now we are just going forward with this. Okay, that's fine. So and we are moving into the next stuff. So we just created a secrets file and also we have provided that. So right now we are going to create the required folders and files. I'm just going to create right now. You people can directly create instead of going and creating in this place. Try to create over this. As I mentioned earlier, this is following the Linux stuffs. So I'm just creating the mkdir output section, and then mkdir make directory utils and make directory dot dev container, so which helps us to work on the relevant stuffs. Okay, so after that, so we need to have a relevant python files. So once if you people are trying to create a folder, we people can go with mkdir. And if we are going with the creation of a files, you people need to go with the touch, right? So right now what I'm going to do, so I'm just creating a new folder which is named of utils, and over that we have a touches helps us to create a new files, agent.py, app.py and relevant stuffs. And I'm just having all in means of initialization.py file. I'm just entering it. By that all the files has been created so far. Okay, so we have the relevant stuffs. So we just created all the entire code workflow. And what I'm just going to do, once it has been done, I need to verify, because you people can just go with the creation of the files manually from here by just utilizing the command. So I'm just giving the ls command to list all the files right now in the place. So you people can see the all the files has been listed as required. As of the part I already mentioned in this above, so we need to have this all files for our project. So we just now created an entire file without entering any code. We just created the files and folders. Okay, even in this app.py there is nothing inside it, but we just created the all the files unfolded. Okay, so we have verified the structure too, and we just created the things. We have a mini quiz, but I'm as part of now I'm just making this lesson completed and moving the process to the next stuff. Okay, so what we have done so far, we just create as the very first part, we just created a requirement. This is the kind of workflow you people need to work on while we are creating an AI agent. Okay, so this is the part. First we are just creating a virtual environment, and just we have created the requirement.txt file in means of installing all the files and utilizing the freeze keyword for to store all the exact versions. And after that we just created all the folders and files which are helpful for the relevant stuffs. Okay, once this has been done, we are going to understand the crew AI process. Okay, so we are going to go with crew AI's agent, task, and crew and process section. So you people can think like this is a old model or a traditional programming where the user will be there and the Python function will be available, and while running this Python function we are getting an output, correct? So but right now we are entering into crew AI programming where we have an entire stuff. You people can think of, I am a user, I'm going to run the app.py file. So by that it will create the LLM object. We are utilizing the LLM as Google Gemini's. So I just copy this. So this is an entire workflow we people are going to do so far. Right now you can think this is a entry point, and we are going to create an LLM object. Right now in this project we are utilizing Gemini API. In this agent.py we have developer, tester, and code reviewer. Okay, so these are all the agents place we have so far. And I'm going to assign the task for this. Okay, so I'm just going to align the task for developer, tester, and code reviewer. So by that it assign the task to that, and we are going to assemble the crew like a sequential flow. Sequential flow means we can say like it starts with developer, and it once done it needs to go to the tester, and once done it needs to go with the code reviewer. Okay, so like that in this crew setup it will be takes place. By that the we are assembling the crew which is takes place as first to second and third, and the crew execution engine takes place and works as part of the sequential flow we mentioned. And then finally the crew output will takes place. We are getting the output here, and we are going to save our output, and in this file we are just taking a extract of output. Okay, this is the project's entire workflow. So we are going to do so far. So for that we are just starting our process. Okay, so you can think like agent, which is an employee, task, it is a work order, crew I already mentioned, which is a project manager, process, so which is the sequential flow or a random flow, like that would be aligned in this. It's a company overflow policy. LLM, which is the employee's brain, which is an agent, and crew output, the project entire result. Okay, you can just think like these are all the relevant stuffs we people are going to utilize in this. This is a basic understanding of crew AI where we have an agent, task, crew, and process. Agent is us like an employee. Task is the one which has been aligned to us. Crew is the one which is a manager who are going to align the task to you. Process in means of which pattern we people are going to work on. Okay, so that is the one. I am just making this lesson complete and moving forward into the next stuff. You people can just have an idea of crew AI. Right now we are entering into the code phase. Sorry. Okay, so right now what we people are going to do, we are just going to create a agents.py file. Okay, so right now the entire modules workflow, we are just building an agents. The flow is it needs to take an env file and load the .env and gets the LLM, and after that it will align to the agents. In this process, I can just make you people understand the workflow, because each and every step have a different workflow. In this env, what will be presented? So Gemini API will be there, right? So which is an LLM API. So load.env helps us to expose that API, expose the AI model API. Okay. So by that, by utilizing this API, for example, if I'm using Gemini Flash model, so by that it will act as my LLM. Okay. So that will be aligned to the agents. Okay, developer, tester, and code reviewer. Okay, so we can think like the API takes place and it will be exposed, and we are replacing Flash. This API helps us to utilize this Gemini Flash from the AI Studio, and developer, tester, and code reviewer is going to use this as a brain. Okay, this is the workflow right now we people are going to do. We are going to create a file right now. So this is the basic stuff. I make you people to understand the code entirely. So I can just, I'm not going to copy right now. I can just go with the entire code stuff. Okay. Okay. So I'm starting with the process of import OS. So once the import OS has been done, we need to go with the .env and import .env. We are having an import OS for the relevant operating system stuff, and we are importing the .env for to get that API key from there, right? So next, what we are going to do from the crew AI part, we are importing the LLM. Okay, this will be, sorry. Okay, so these are all the relevant import packages we need, and we can also go with agents right now. So import create agents. Okay, so right now I just created it. So I'm going to work on the 11 steps. 1 second, please. Sorry. Uh, we can continue right now. So right now we are going to utilize the API art.py, which is the first file other than like an HTML file. So right now we are going importing the relevant files, and I'm just, as we have done with the import statement, I'm just going with the env file configuration. We are just loading the .env file right now, and then right now I'm going to create the LM. So what are the things you people are importing here? You need to work on that, right? So I'm just going to work on the same stuffs right now. So I just imported the .env, I just loaded here, and the very next part I just have a LLM workflow. So by that I am going to create a LLM creation flow. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are initiating the LLM stuff, and we have seen this in the previous sessions also. We have an LLM, which is an import package. After that, we need to align the model, and it needs to navigate from one specific place by utilizing the API key, right? So right now I'm utilizing the model as, I can just check or copy that. So we are utilizing the Gemini's 2.5 Flash model for our code. I'm just copying that and pasting here. Okay. So, and after that model initialization, what we need to do? we need to initialize the API key. So we have already placed that in the env file, so that over this I just mention as os dot get env file. We just loaded that .env above. Right now we are getting the env. Okay, so what name we have provided? We just provided in means of Gemini API key. So I'm going to give that names here. By that, what have we have done so far? We just created an LLM. We have assigned the model, and for API accessing, we just provided the place. Okay. So once this has been done, what we need to do? We are going to create a agent workflow. So we just created .vnv has been aligned and LLM has been done, and right now we have a create agents. Okay. So I'm just going with the basic stuff. Create agents. Okay, so what are all the agents so far we are going to create as we mentioned earlier? So I'm just going to have a developer, reviewer, and also the tester. Okay, so we have the three agents. I'm just going to create these three agents right now. So as we mentioned, you can see I just imported the name as create agents. Okay, so I'm just copying that, and it needs to work LLM, this LLM, right? So for three agents, I'm assigning the same model. So I'm just utilizing the LLM. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so right now we just have initiated the created an agent, and we have aligned the LLM also. Okay, so we have done so far, we have imported all the stuffs and we just created. Right now, after initiation, we need to check the answer. This is a temporary file I just created. We are already, you people may think like, sir, we have the agents by .py as a new file, but why you are creating agents inside this? I'm just going and making you people to understand in the basic stuff. As of now, we are just utilizing this app.py as the front file, and I'm just created an agent inside it, and it needs to access the LLM as Gemini API. And for getting an API key, we just navigated the workflow by utilizing .env. It is going to get the env from the .env file. Okay, we just created the agents. Now I'm going with the print statement, agents created. Okay, so right now what I am just going to do, we need to confirm whether it is working or not. Okay, you people may know this one, right? So this is a f string where it will be replaced during the things. So just I'm just copying the same. We have a three agents, so I'm changing the name to reviewer, and it needs to show the reviewer role. And in this place we have the tester, and I'm just changing the tester role. Okay, so right now what we have done so far, we just created the things. We can just check our things. Okay, so what we need to do right now, 1 second. I'm just closing this. second. Ah, shit. One can increase. Not working. Okay. Right now, we can go with the python.appy. 92.dnb. One second. Okay, so I just missed it here. Like from .env, need to load that. Sorry. So right now, what it going to do means it will check the things and it will provide the answer. And from agents import, wait a second. I just import this. Create agents. Okay, but I think so. It might be an issue somewhere. So I will check. I can open another file. One second. Might be an import error. One second. We'll check what might be an error. At the parallel time, I can go with this file explanation. Weight limit is not there. Okay. I think we have just navigated this file, but we just not have the things. One second, then we can add this file too. Okay. So what is the error might be? So we have included the agents in import agent section, but over the agent.py it is nothing. So it might be an issue. Yeah. So one second. So what we can do, just we can write the agents workflow. Okay, you people can think and see here. As the very first part, what we people are going to do, we are going to create an agent workflow, and we are just creating a agents, and we have mentioned already which is 3, and we can able to see. I just missed it, sorry. So we are just providing the agents, and we are going to ask the developer role. It needs to navigate into a agents file, but in our agent, I first we need to create this agents first, and then we need to go with this python dot file. Sorry, I have missed that. You people can first see this. So what right now we are doing right now means we are creating an agents.py file. Okay, From Crew AI, we are importing an agent, that is a package, and we are creating a agents. Okay, as the very first part already we mentioned, we have the three agent stuff, and we are importing that agent workflow here. We over the Crew AI, we have the role, goal, backstory, and LLM, and then verbose. Okay, so you can, these are the relevant stuffs. You can go with the prompt engineering stuff. I can just go with the one by one code. You can see here from Crew AI, we are importing it. We are importing the agent. Okay, so as the very first part, we are going to work for the developer agent, and we are just creating the agents, and we have created a function right now, and we have, I'm just copy pasting this. You can check, this is the basic stuff. Why I'm just copy pasting this means, so you can see here we have an agent. So in this we are going to provide the role. This is a kind of a parameter you need to know from Crew AI. So while you are creating an agent, we have this 11 stuff. Okay, first one is role, goal, backstory, then LLM, and verbose. Verbose is the one we already mentioned. That is the backend workflow. So I'm working on this. This is the basic stuff. I just, the backend processing will be available over a output. So during the production time, can make this as a false. But over the development process, you can just mention that as true to check is there any backend processing. If it shows any backend errors, we can just easily resolve that. Okay. So in this place, role as a developer agent, I'm just going to provide a name as Python developer, and its goal is to write clean and optimized production ready Python code. Okay, and I'm just, this is a kind of goal and role for an agent. We are not assigned the task so far. So, and the very next one, we are going to assign the backstory. As we can see over the role prompting technique which I have said in the previous sessions, so we need to provide a role, goal, and you are an experienced person, you are an experienced code reviewer, like that, right? So you are an experienced Python software developer with expertise in clean coding, PEP8, op, oops, and then the software architecture. By that, agent will think like that it is an Python experienced Python software engineer and create the code accordingly for the task which we have provided. Okay, so next we have the LLM, and we have already assigned that as a Gemini API. So and then verbose is true for the backend processing. Okay, so and we have already mentioned this, we have three agents so far. Okay, so I'm just having the same workflow for this. You can see the very first agent is a developer, and second is for the reviewer, and third is for the tester. You can see here the same role and goal, but here we are just changing that as a senior code reviewer and reviewing the Python code and improve quality, and we are just giving a backstory as you are a senior software architect who reviews enterprise level Python application. By that, an agent can think like that and work as per the part. And here, as of now, I'm just going with a single LLM. I already mentioned you people can go with multi LLM also. Yes, so I have already mentioned here multi agent and multi models, but so far we are working with the multi agent right now and utilizing the same LLM. If required, you people can change this place. You can change that to Gemini API for LLM with the different names, and you can assign that workflow. Okay, so right now I'm just going with a single agent, so single multi-model, which is Gemini API. Okay, and finally what I'm going to do, we have the third agent, which is tester, which is the QA engineer also. Okay, right now what we have done so far, we just created an agent, and we have the three different agents. One is developer, reviewer, and the tester. Okay, by that it will check, and right now we have the code here. We can run the app.py, and it might not receive any errors now. Why? Because in the previous step I just mentioned that from agents you need to import the create agents, From agents means it is a file which is agents.py file, and we have mentioned that as a create agent as a function, right? So it will call that function and it load it and provide the developer role. You can see here developer.role means it will show as Python developer, and reviewer.role means senior code reviewer, like that. Okay, so I'm just running this. Paka. So I'm sorry for the miss. Actually, I just missed it that agents.py file in that, and even in this, I think it might be missed. I can add it in the code. Okay, so we can have an output right now. So even what you people can also do, you can also try to add this. So right now we are not retrieving these answers from the LLM. We are just retrieving the agent roles. This is a basic workflow. Okay, so if we people need to get the role also after an LLM integration, you can add this response in this llm.call. We are just checking that whether the Gemini 2.5 flash is working for us or not. Say hello in one sentence. I'm just changing that into what is cloud computing, say in 100 words. Okay, by that what it will do, it will call the LLM and it provide the input to the LLM which we have provided here, and it utilizes the API key and print the response. I'm just rerunning the Python API app.py file where you can get the role and also the output for this response. Okay, you can see here cloud computing delivers the on demand including this, and we have the output, and after that we have this print statements so that it provided the results. Okay, so what we have done so far means we just created the agents and we just aligned the role and goal and backstory for that. And as the very first check whether our LLM is working or not, we just confirmed by placing a first single prompt confirmation, and we just provided a first call for asking a question with it, and we are getting the correct answer. Okay, so right now what we have done so far, we just created a agents.py file and an app.py file, so to test it and whether it is working or not, and we confirm that that is working. And next we people are going to work on the task things. So right now what we have done so far, we just created the agents, right? So now we are just moving into the next part, which is task. Okay, for each and every agent we need to align the task to it, and we need to get the outputs. Okay, so this is the previous one I just already have, so I will just check this and update the same over this. Okay, if you people found any issues so far, you can go with, and my suggestion, I'm just not going further right now. So what you people can do, you can check this. We just created an agent 1, 2 and 3, and we just aligned the role goal and backstory, and we have the app.py file. Okay, so I'm just giving a 5 minutes of time. So if you have any questions so far, you can post it here. I can just reply. And parallel, if you are working something or parallel working with me, you can just have this code. This is a kind of a decoration part I have already added. I'm just removing this. As the very first part, what you people can do, just create this one single agent, and you can go with this and get the answer. Please go ahead with the score. I will be taking around 5 minutes of time till 10:20. I just show the score to you people. If you are working parallel in your system, please try to work on and let me know once done over the chat. Or else, if you have any questions, also you can post it in the live stream. If you have any questions, please post. I will be checking from my mobile phone for a comments, and parallel I will be showing the code to you people. If you have any questions on this app.py or agents.py, please let me know. As the very first part, if you are working with your laptop, just try to create the one single agent and call that agent in this place and just get the developer.role. As of now, what we have done so far, as the very first step, this is a kind of a project starting phase. You need to work on the same. So while you are creating this, okay, as the very first step, what you people have done, we just created the VNV, so which is a virtual environment. Install the relevant packages, and then what we have done, we have utilized the freeze for requirements, freeze step 2. We just created the project structure and code base, project structure and folders and files required. As the step 3, what we have done right now, we just wrote the code for agents.py initialization and app.py as a main file to run and get the output of agents role. Okay, and also we have done the first LLM API call and got the response. Okay, so this is the stuff which we have done right now. These are all the step 1, 2, 3 we have done. People can also do. If you are working, please try to utilize this code. And if you need to have the agent, I will be posting. I don't know whether it is possible. I will just check. This is the space. When we create agents using other languages as Java, C, sir, what is the difference in creating agent with Python and creating agent with other languages? So, hello, Ram Karthik. So, can we? Yeah. So you can also create the agents in different things. Also, I can just show. So you people can also not even with Java and C. We can also go and create an agents with JavaScript too. Okay. So I can just show one thing. So you can see LangChain is available for all the stuffs. Uh, we have a code base. Uh, The LangChain is available for in means of Python and TypeScript. Even we can also create that using the Java and C. But why I'm just going with this Python means it has a pip packages. We can directly import the packages easily, and we can just work on that stuffs. Okay, so but even you people can also jump with Java and C also. Why I have chosen the Python means we have a data engineering stuffs, so we can just directly pre-process and clean the data and store that in the uh, vector DBs and directly call utilizing that. But all the languages will support. And right now, most of the product companies are using the Java and Python. So you can also stick with, if you are well furnished with the Python stuff, sorry, Java, you can also stick with Java. It is also fine. I'm not saying anything, this is better, but the code base is simple when you are going with the Python. The code is very short and it easily understand. While I'm not that much in Java, I was in the Python side, so I won't say an entire stuff. But even you can also create an agents over using Java and C2. It's possible. Okay, and we have a time crossed. So what we people can do, I'm just jumping into the next stuff. Okay, so right now we have completed the agent and we have created a three agent, which is developer, reviewer and tester, and we just called that agent's role, and we have done the first API call. So that has been completed, right? So the very next part, what we are going to do means we are going to understanding and assigning the task. Okay, so user, we are going to provide ask a question, the agent will takes place and agent will work on the task, and crew will be takes place. For example, which this task or this question will be aligned to which agent, like that, and we are getting an output. Okay, so right now we are going to work on this request. So I will be let you know people on this. And the very first part, we need to create a task. Okay, so you can check here, I have already done. I will be using this one, and we are going to add up in our new code. Okay, you can check here. So what we have done right now, from the crew AI, we are importing task. We have the different stuffs. One is agents, task, crew, and process. We have done with an agents, and now we are entering into the task. Okay. So right now we are creating a new function which is named as create task. By that, what it will need to do in an app.py file, you need to add a new line. From agents means it's for agent, and now we need to add for from, we have a name as task. From task we need to import create task. Okay, so 1 second, I will just plug into my charger. Okay, okay, so we can jump with the task things. I can first explain the code, then you people can work on. So actually over the task section, what are the things needs to be done? So over the description, I just explained somewhere. 1 second. This is the step which we have done. Yeah. So you can see here, this is for an agent section where we have the role, goal, backstory, LLM, and verbose. These are all the kind of a predefined template. You can think like that. So this needs to be aligned and provided to for an agent section. For creating task, what are the things needs to be provided? Right now we are seeing that, you can see here as the very first, we have around three different agents. So for that we are going to create a task for that. So developer task, we have the task, and we have description and expected output and agent. Okay, so what are the things we have? Description and the expected output and agent. We have the three parameters so far, and agent. Okay, so for example, why we have this agent means, for the description and exported output which we are creating right now, it need to be aligned to the specific agent. We have already three agents, right? So which is developer, we have named as developer, reviewer. By that it will be aligned to that. You can see here, so it needs to write a Python function that calculates. We are going with a predefined workflow. You can change that into a dynamic also. Okay, while you are going as a production ready subject. So right now I'm just going with the development phase. So providing the inbuilt code. Okay, I'm just asking it to work on a task to create a Python function that calculates the factorial of a non-negative integer. I'm just providing the requirements also. Use aggression, so recursion, include type hints, add a proper talk string, validate invalid inputs, and follow the PAP8 principle also. Okay, so this is a task. I'm just providing that to a agent developer. By that it will write a code. Okay, so we just have the agent here where it needs to write the production ready Python code. By that, for this specific agent, we have aligned this task. Okay, so and we have asked the exported output as a complete Python function with comments, dog string, and example use case or a usage. So right now I am just providing a predefined question or predefined input inside the code. While we are converting that into a production ready, we need to change this from the f string. F string helps us to provide the input dynamic inputs. Okay, so as per the first part, we have the task created for a first agent, which is developer. I'm moving on to the next one, which is reviewer agent, where we have the review Python code written by the developer. You can see here I already mentioned. So once I can also write here developer works on it, creates the code. Okay, developer agent, I can add this to developer agent and task. We have provided the agent as Python developer, right? Task as factorial number. Yes. So what it has been done, the agent will check this and it creates the code. And we have the output place here, or else I will write the output. Okay. So right now, developer agent, which is a Python developer, and task is to create a factorial number code, and it creates the code, and we have an output, right? So next agent is, what is our next agent? Reviewer. Okay. Reviewer agent. You can see the role is senior code reviewer. I'm just pasting this here. And the task here is, you need to check this right now. Output of the first agent is provided as a input for this agent, right? So it needs to review the code. For which code it need to review? It needs to review the developer agent code, right? So this output will be provided as an input for this agent. Okay, so people can try to visualize. The output has been generated from the developer agent. That output needs to be provided to the review agent as an input. By that, it will check as the senior code reviewer and his task. Okay, so what are the tasks we have provided? Review the Python code written by the developer, which is developer agent. It needs to check the PPA8 and readability, performance, best practice, error handling, and improve the code wherever possible. So this is a description or a task which we are providing or allocating to the agent, which is code reviewer. Okay, and we are asking an exported output, a review report followed by a improved version of the Python code. It is going to create a improved, provide a review report, and also if required it also improve the code. Okay, and you can see here in the previous first agent we just gone with the description, exported output, agent alone, right? But right now over the task 2, it need to take the context from the developer task. It is the place where we are just aligning the output of a developer task, and by that it will take that as an input for the second agent. Okay, so the same stuff we have, but from the second agents we need to go with context. Okay, so you can see here context of the developer task. By that it will takes place. We people are seeing these things we just created, where it needs to be have the role, goal, backstory, LM, and verbose. for creating tasks, we need to have this description, expected output, and for which agent we are going to provide that align the task. That one from the second agents we need to provide the context. Okay, previous agent task. Okay, as part of the thing I already mentioned, output of the first agent is provided as a input for the this agent. Okay, by that it will take the context from the previous agent and work on. And you can see here as the next one, this is the first agent which is developer, so that in the second agent it will take the context as developer task. If we are going with the third one, it will take the context as the previous, the before previous one. Okay, so by that it will take the reviewer task output and taken that as an input for the third agent. Okay, so we have the third agent which is test the task. We are asked to create a unit test for the reviewed code which has been done by the second agent, and it needs to cover the positive inputs 0 1, invalid values negative, and end-to-end testing needs to be done, and use the python's unit test package. And unit expected output is one, and a unit test case class with at least 6 test cases. We have asked it to perform around at least 6 test cases for the code reviewed in the previous agent workflow. Okay, so by that you can understand the sequential workflow. What has been going right now means we have a developer agent. Output will be provided as, I'm just taking this IP. Okay, input to which agent? Reviewer agent. Reviewer agent output is provided as input to which agent, which is the next agent tester. Okay, this is the finalized answer. Final output. Okay, right now we people are working on that. So we have just created the task. So I'm just copying this one, and we need to return the developer task, reviewer task, and tester task. Okay, I'm just updating the code from here into the my task. So by that we have aligned the task right now. Okay, after this what we are going to do, we have just updated or created the task file. That's fine. We are moving into the app.py again, because as the we are creating a one single file. So what I'm going to do right now, we need to update the app.py, right? So we just checked the developers role. Right now we just added the task also. So we are moving into the next stuff. What we need to be, what needs to be done means, we need to add a new line from task. So from this, we are importing the create task. Why? Because we just created a function name as create task, right? So we just imported it. That's fine. So next, what we need to do, we are need to ask to align the agent. We just align the agents now. We need to align the task. Okay. So you can see here first, then I can help you. So we just have an LLM on place. We just created an agent. Right now, what we people are going to do, we are just going to align the task. Okay. So I can write that code. I can remove this. So this is a temp check actually, that normal Python calling. We just created an agent. Right now we are just going to work on that developer task. You can see here reviewer task and tester task. We have three things, and we are just creating a task for developer, reviewer, and tester. By that it will directly call this. You can see we just have an agents. which agents has been provided, that will be we are assigning that one. So for a developer task, we are assigning a developer agent, reviewer as a reviewer, and tester as for the tester. Okay, fine. So we can agent and task has been created successfully. And what I'm just going to do, instead of this developer role, I'm also going to have the task description. I'm just slicing that into around 50 or 70, 61. Okay, so we have done so far. So we are just going to take the description right now. We are just configuring everything. We are just checking whether it is working or not. Okay. So by that, what we have done so far, we just have the front end file, which is an app.py. It needs to check all the file. We just now check the role by utilizing this agents.py file. And right now I'm just going to take the developer description. Okay. So in means of slicing till 60. Okay, you can see here we just have the developer roles, and these are the first one over the task. You can see write a Python function. I just slice it till 60, so that one. And next we have the for the reviewer agent, review the Python code written by that. And for the last, we have the create unit test. What we have done so far means we just done with the basic configuration. Okay, so we are not yet started the process again. So we just aligning the things in place. Okay, we just created an agent. We just align the task so far, and we are moving further. So we just got the code like this, right? So I'm moving to the next part, which is crew setup. This is the major workflow you people need to understand very clear, because we have an agent in place, we have the task in place, but how that needs to be combined and work on and provide the outputs will be discussed in this place. Okay, so we just set up this, and after that we can have an execute, and we are just going to export and download that. Okay, so we can just work on that request. So what we are going to do right now means I can just show the things with you people. We just gone with this. Task has been created. 1 second. Okay, so right now we are moving into the next part, which is crew setup.py file. So I can just show that code to you people. You can see here. Okay, so right now what we are going to do means we have created a agents and task, but we doesn't know the process where it needs to be start and where it needs to be done, and for what questions what need to be done, like that, right? So for that we are going to go with the next part, which is agent allocation. Okay, so you can see here we just gone with the creating agent and creating task, and right now we are moving into the next stuff, which is creating crew setup workflow. Okay, so these are all the kind of TLDR or key takeaways for the code needs to be run like this. Okay, people can just think like this. It's a kind of a basic pseudocode template for your code workflow. Okay, so right now we are going or moving into the crew setup, and where we are from the crew AI, we are importing the crew and process. And process is the major one where it helps us to work on a sequential pattern or a different pattern. Okay, so I will explain that in an upcoming. You can see here in the process. Very first, we are just creating a new crew where we have around six stuff. One is agents, three agents, and three tasks. Okay, we just have the three things for an agent workflow, and for the task we have three things. Okay, and right now we are just aligning that to create that as a group, or you can think that as a crew. So where we have around three agents, so where it is developer, reviewer, and tester, and we are making that in a process of sequential pattern. By that, the for whatever the question you are going to pass, the developer will work on the first, and reviewer will act on the second, and tester will act on the third, because we just align that in the 1 2 3 order, and we are just making that process in a sequential pattern, so that what you have aligning here, for example, if you are changing this reviewer into the first, the reviewer agent will work as the first one. Okay, but we have also configured as part of this one, you can see over the task also. So first developer needs to be done actually, and after the agent developer done, near description will be takes place for the reviewer task, and it needs to take the context from the developer alone, right? So we are just setting a path. So agents, it needs to take the place from developer, reviewer, and tester, and we are just assigning the task according to the agents, and this is the first and second and third, and we are making that in a sequential workflow, and we are just checking the verbose true to check the backend workflow, and we are just returning this as a crew. Okay, so in this place what we are going to do means we are creating a crew and aligning the process to work on. Okay, so the crew contains two things, which includes agents and what is another one, task in a sequential order. By that, the people can say this stuffs. Okay, so we have an agents, it follows with the developer, reviewer, and tester, and task same according to the agents. Okay, so crew contains two things. What are the two things we have? Which one is agent and another is task. Okay, and finally we have a process, and in this process we are setting up for this project to make agents work in the sequential order which placed in the crew. Okay, so this is the crew, right? So we have the agents and task. In the agent, in which order we you people are going to place, that will be taken as a sequential order, and it will start the process. Okay, so these are all the three things which we people are discussing around 4 1 is agent and another one is the task, and the crew setup workflow, it contains crew and process. Okay, so I'm just copying this same stuff and entering into my crew setup. What we have done right now, we just imported the crew and process. We just derived all the things which we have created in the previous, and we are just creating a crew as a group, and we are just providing the process needs to be followed in the sequential process, and we have done so far. Okay, and again
If you are creating a new file, we need to make some updates in the app.py to call that one and the things, right? So we have an agent file that has been imported with the function name as create agents. We have the task file, we have imported that in means of create task. And right now we have the crew setup, and we have imported that needs to import in a name of create crew, right? So we can see that code right now. You people can see we have imported the task, and right now we are importing this crew setup. Okay, from crew setup we are importing the create crew. So that is the name which we have created. Okay, fine. So after that we have the load env already placed, llm we have initiated, agents has been created, and task has been created. Now we are going with the crew setup. Okay, so in this we are just creating a crew where you can able to see this in the function, right? So this needs to be placed in your app.py file. It needs to align the workflow. You can see here we are just creating a crew. It takes place starts with the developer, reviewer, and tester. For each agent we have a different task that has been aligned in the next one. Okay, so I'm just creating a crew in my file over the app.py. We have created a agents, and we have agents, and we have the task created. And right now what we are doing, we are creating the crew. Okay, fine. So we have the developer role. For that we just confirmed right now, and for the developer task, and I can show also add a comment here. Agent workflow confirmation here, task workflow confirmation. We have the results so far. And right now what we are going to do, so we are just making this as the process, and need to have the confirmation how many agents are takes place and how many tasks are takes place. So I'm just going to, you can see here we just mention that as return crew, so that I'm just adding a print statement here. Agent task and crew setup has been created successfully, and I'm just crew setup confirmation. Okay, so we have this stuff right now. I'm just going with the python.app.py again to run the file, and we can see the answer. You can see now for the agent's perspective we have an output which is developer role and things. For the task perspective we have the things, and we got the result. Right now what we have, this relevant stuffs are from the agent side. Okay, you can see it cover the crew, and it has the requirements. We just provided that requirement over the crew section, right? And we have the unit test cases also. Okay, so right now we have done with our basic setup, and the crew setup is also being completed. So right now what we are going to do, we are just going to execute the crew. Okay, and for getting the results of crew we need to have a new keyword. Understand, which is kick off. Okay, crew dot kick off. Crew dot kick off means we need to expose the result to an outside, and we can just directly get an output from there. Okay, so right now we are in the last phase actually. So we have on another two more phase. So you can see we can just go into export that result. But right now we are in a main phase to done everything. Okay, so we can start step by step. What we need to do means we need to have different stuffs. One second, I cannot able to see a confirmation in this, right? We need to have a crew ID, but is it exposed? So we need to confirm at first, because if it missed it, it won't work. Yeah, so that has been created. We have the crew working. Okay, so we have the results right now. So then we are good. So at the very next, we are moving into the next step. So which is crew has been created successfully. Now we are going with the execution part. So we are in the phase. We need to update the app.py file. Just directly we can get the results. One second. I had a note, but I have missed to update the things in this file. Yeah, it has been missed here. Let me check in this file. One second, or else I can just take this. Okay, so right now what you people can see here, you can see we are just going with the execute the crew, which is crew kickoff. You need to understand this process first, and then we can go further. So think of a real software company. CEO will be takes place, and project manager. We have the three things. This project manager is the crew. Okay, so you can think this is a crew. Okay. The project manager starts assigning a work in crew AI. Crew.kickoff, what it will start means you can see that in this place, which is crew AI engine starts. By that, the developer agent first run. Now output will be passed to the reviewer, and reviewer runs the code, and output will be passed to QA, and QA runs, and the final report returns. Okay, so this is the things which we have seen, and we have already discussed. I already mentioned that in the previous code. You can see here. I just mentioned here, right? So developer agent output will be shared as an input to the another one, and that reviewer agent's output will be provided as the input to the tester agent, right? And finally, we are getting the final output. For this final output, right now we just return the crew alone, but we need to export the result. For that, this crew.kickoff will takes place. Okay, so right now we need to update our python app.py file to get an output, and by that we are going to see the real time outputs. Okay, we can start working on that. Okay, you can see now. So we need to replace our current API file. So directly we can first confirm we just have the os.env crew setup input, crew dot create crews also takes place, and we just have the agents. We just created a task, and also we have the crew setup already in place. Right now, what we need to do means we just return the crew alone. But right now, we just make that into a crew dot kickoff. By that, we just get the results. Okay, so you can directly see in our code, or else I can just copy this and customize accordingly. This is our code, right? Yes, this is our code. Okay, so we just printed the crew. By that, what it will show means it will show all the crew setup, right? So these are the stuff, and developer what workflow you can able to see here, right? So what is the developer requirements and check and the relevant stuffs in this place. But instead of going to print the crew one, we are just going to make the crew kickoff. By that, it will start the execution process. Okay, so I'm just removing this and have the place as result dot crew kickoff, and we can, I just remove this relevant stuffs. We can separate the things first. Okay, so we can start our process. What we have done so far, we just retrieved the crew, but right now we are going to get the results. Okay, so I'm just clearing this, and I'm running the Python app.py file. You can see the cruise process has been started. We just had the agent workflow confirmation that has been done. Task workflow confirmation has been completed, and crew setup confirmation has been takes part. And this is the kind of stuff while you people get the answer. You can see here this is the same like over the cloud or whatever the things we are just showing the results in the uh, terminal. But if you people try to create this as a web application, it will be might be easy. Okay, you can see here the crew execution has been started, and the task has been, the very first task is the developer write a Python function. That this is a task that will be provided, right? So this task has been assigned to a very first agent, which is Python developer. The task has been provided, and it will agent's final answer, which is the Python developer's final answer. You can see here the code has been generated, done. So after the code generation, the task has been completed by the developer. By that, you can see the agent Python developer completed that. By that, the task, this thing will be provided to the next agent. I already mentioned, right? The output of the first agent will be provided to the input as second agent. You can see here, review the Python code written by the developer. By that, it will check this output of developer, and it will be provided as input to the next one. You can see here, agent started, created the unit test cases. We just provided that as a task, and it will check all the code. And we also mentioned that if any feasible solution needs to be updated, you can update the code and provide the answer, right? So right now the QA has been provided the answer. You can see here the task has been completed, and finally the crew execution stuff has been completed, and we have the answer. Okay, so we can also say the crew completion also. The quiz crew completion is the final answer. Sir, this is okay, but at the same time, how I can able to see the output? We are just receiving the output in means of displays over the terminal, right? But my suggestion, as part of this one, for this session, I'm just showing all the output in the terminal workflow. I just ask you people to work on the Flask or Fast API workflow to make and expose this answers in the front end. Okay, so you can see each and every step this execution traces, tracing preference saved. This all will be a backend process that will be controlled in the agents.py, where we just provided the verbose as true, right? So by that, this verbose will provide the backend process of each stuff and provide the answer. Okay. So right now I'm just moving into the next step, which is screw setup has been completed. We just have an output also, but I'm just trying to expose the output and needs to download the output here. For that, we are just have a another file. We have the save output.py. Okay, so right now I'm just going to create a code for that, and once that has been done, we can just go further and download the output. Okay, I'm just moving into the next stuff, crew output and save output dot file. In this flow, what we people are going to do, we have the verbose outputs in place. We can able to see the things, but we cannot. This is the done by developer. This has been done by reviewer. This has been done by QA, like that, right? So for that, I'm just going to create a export function to save the output in means of text file. Okay, so we can further run. So crew output, we have the raw as a final answer. So we have the task output for every task and token usage. And finally, we are just going to use the JSON dictionary and Pydantic if required, but I'm not utilizing right now. So as the very first, we need to skip the process and write the new file. Okay, so what I'm going to do, we are going to write the save output.py file. I can just show the things. I just first copy this. I will explain from this. You can see here from the path lib import path to navigate the path, because we have the file, it will be stored in the VNV, but by that we need to get that output from there and need to store as a new file, right? So you can see I'm just creating a new file name as save output, and in the name of result output folder I'm just giving a path as outputs. We just created a folder name as outputs, so we need to store that. If that is not, if already in place, you need to remove, it can just leave that. If there is no outputs folder takes place, by this line it will create a new folder named as output. And is it okay true means if it is there, it will just use the same. Okay, so file name, we are just going to name it as crew output and date and time on the while the run of, for example, we are just going to run this app.py. During that time, what we have the time slot that will be provided in that, and we are just saving the file in names of .txt extension. And this is the basic function we have needs to be follow the encoding of UTF-8, and we need to write the entire content of the terminal stuff which have in this place that will be extracted as an output. Okay, and need to return the file name. Fine. So right now what we have done, so we just created a save output.py file to export our terminal output into a txt file. That's fine. So once we are creating a new file, that needs to be updated in the app.py. We can just check that things. So you can see here from the, if we are creating a new file, we need to update our things, right? So I'm just updating from utils. You can see from the utils dot save output, we are importing a save output. That is a function name, right? We just created. So save output, by that what it will do, during the process it will call into that file and run that function and provide the output, right? So after this screw dot kickoff completion, only we need to insert that save output file. If you are inserting in this, we are not going to get any outputs because we have the results in this place. And after that result generated, we people are going to export that as a text file, right? So we can check the code right now. You can see here, I just mentioned here, after the result crew.kickoff, you need to mention that. So I'm just copying this, and we are just providing the save path which we provided over the code. We don't need these things. We are just taking the confirmation of this, and it needs to show the path. Okay, you can see here we just mentioned that as a path in an outputs. So I just mention the same here in the app, save output, but it needs to take the result from here. The crew.kickoff will takes place, and that will be stored in the result, and we are using that result, and by utilizing the save output function, we are going to store the output. Okay, so we have provided a path, and the prop has been provided in this place, which is output section, and need to create a new file name as crew output and specific date and .txt. Okay, so we are good with the process now, and we can just start the process again. I'm running the app.py file again. Right now we can able to see the output section also. Okay, once the result.kickoff completed, it will show the path also. By that we can access the path, by that we can get the file. My suggestion is to make this into a front end application. As part of this one, we just created an entire crew workflow using a backend stuff alone. So our session is completely to explain the AI frameworks and sections. What you people can do, you can utilize this code space, and you can directly make the changes, and include the front end stuff also by utilizing a Flask or Fast API to expose the backend API into a front end and create a workflow by that. And also you can change the dynamic prompt. So in this task, you can go with the F string instead of relying with the factorial. Okay, by that it will be a production ready application. So we have the crew right now that has been completed, and over the output I can able to see the crew.txt file has been created. You can see here, this is the developer output, and it has all the stuffs. Okay, you can utilize this code for your things. You can directly expose this also, and my suggestion is to work on the relevant stuffs. I have also added the crew deployment, but I need to cover some of the information, so I'm just skipping this. What you need to do means, you need to add a another stuff. I can just show. You can see here over the developer task alone, you just make a problem, or else wait. We can just change it. Okay, so actually, what we people are right now doing means, so we are just updating the things, like we need to access the user problem. We just have a previous as a write a factorial is a predefined question. Right now, it needs to have a user problem. By that, we need to update the relevant stuffs, so we can check that. Okay. So as the very first part, what we need to do, the user problem is the very first place in the developer will be aligned. So we are just changing that user problem into an F string. F string means it's like it will take the question over the input and changes accordingly, right? So after doing this is the first step you need to do. And over the things, over the create task, you need to add a user problem also. We have the predefined steps as three before. We just created a task, right? I just missed the code, I think so. Right, I can show it here. Hmm. You can see here, you need to add this. In this place, developer, reviewer, and tester is in the predefined place. You need to change that into a F string, and you need to add a new one as user problem. So by that, you people can able to get the details. And I'm just running out of time, so actually I can share this web link with you people. By just changing the things and using the F string, you can go with the any code. Okay, but at the one single time, I need to explain one thing you for you people. Just try to make sure they need not to be stopped till this place as a backend. Please try to integrate with the Flask or fast API to expose this backend API into a front end and create the front end using any of the React frameworks and try to deploy this. By that, this will be a good project actually. Why that? Why I'm saying this means because it contains three different agents, which is developer, reviewer, and tester. For what are the project you are going to provide, it will check and provide the results. Okay, and instead of relying with this kind of outputs in the backend stuff, you can directly get the code alone. By that, you can just try to. My suggestion is like I can show what you people can do. Just try to create like this. I'm just giving an UI diagram for you people. AI powered multi-agent coder system. Okay, like this what you people can do, just you can create a things. I'm just giving a kind of UI prototype for you people, just try to have this. So by that, if you are connecting that into a front end stuff, the back end into a front end stuff, that will be very helpful. Okay, what are the problem statement you people may have, you need to enter it here. Okay, so by that, our workflow is to make an AI powered multi-agent coder system. For example, you can just go with any kind of question. For example, just we provided a factorial number, right? So we just have a factorial number as a question, and we have around three agents. So we can just okay. What is this? Developer agent will be nice. Okay. What is our second agent? code reviewer agent, and finally is the tester agent. Okay, once you are entering this, I'm just trying to draw. Sorry. Okay, what you can do, I'm just as submit button. By this, once you are entering this, it will call the fast API and it directly provide the code inside this developer agent, and it will goes into the code reviewer and tester agent. Okay, so and you can also visualize like with an arrow marks. Once this has been done, it is going through, and after this, okay, so like this, you can create an UI framework. What are the question you are going to submit it here, or even you are just going to create a different stuff. Once by we are submitting, it will generate a code, and you can also add a button in the bottom, download the code like that. Okay, so by that we can have a end-to-end system. So you can take this as a UI prototype. I can just take a snap. I don't know whether it is possible to post here, but we'll check. No, it's not possible because it's in a YouTube live stream. So I can just share the things with the professor. You can also utilize this as a kind of an UI. And while you are connecting our backend with this, where is the code actually? Yeah, so in this you can able to export, take this as a code, or even just you can go on a usage of this blob and take the direct py file and updated code and reports and etc etc. Okay, or else if you people require another multi-agent stuffs also, you can proceed further to create a new stuffs. Okay, so my suggestion is like you to create like this and try to create a multi-agents. This is a kind of a basic project idea. I'm just going with the multi-agent coder system where it has an developer agent. It creates the code and it code reviews the code, and it can have the tester agent too, right? So by that you can also go with your problem statement and create a new agents by help of the Screw AI. So by that it will be a multi-agent problem, the multi-agent problem statement, and it's a good project actually. Even this is a good project, and if you have the things like in your resume, it will be very helpful. But you need to have that in a real-time website like this is a kind of a basic UI you can try to implement for your project. Okay, so as of today we just have the entire stuff. We just completed the things. I just take a brief on that. What we have seen today is, which is a Crew AI, which is a multi-agent framework where we have around four stuffs. One is agent, another is a task, and third is a crew setup where it contains crew and process. Okay, so this is a kind of a pseudo code. While creating a agents, you need to be provide the all the stuffs like role, goal, backstory, LLM, and verbose. And while you are going with the production, you need to be turn it off to as a false, and you need to create a task for how many agents you people are going to create. You need to create a task accordingly, and just you can go with the description, expected output, and then which agent is going to work for that specific task needs to be provided here. And while from the second agent, you need to provide the previous agent's task, okay, as a context. Why we are just providing that as a context? Because the first agent will start working, and that output will be provided as an input for the next agent, and the next agent's output will be provided as a input for the very next agent. Okay, so this is the workflow or a process we have mentioned. As part of today, we have just gone with one of the project title, which is the multi-coder agent system. So, which is a developer agent takes part, and output will be provided, and the input will be provided as to reviewer agent, and reviewer agent's output will be provided to as an input to the tester agent, and we are finally getting the final output. Okay, so in this, to get the final output, what needs to be done means crew.kickoff is the command where it helps us to provide the expose the complete process and provide the results. Okay, so and we have gone with another one more step to export that output into a file, so that we have created a utils file, and we have just created that save output.py file, and just copied that part in the app.main file, and we just return that, and we have the output.txt file also. Okay, but even though my suggestion, you can also check this dynamic user input section. By that, we just go on with the predefined keyword. Right now you can see here over this, over the task section, we just go on with the predefined question. You can change that into one f string. By that, it will pull the question in the runtime, real time runtime. But even without stopping in this, try to go with this like a UI. Okay, so you can just go over like an UI and create that as a project. And if you people completed the project, try to share with me over the LinkedIn. You can just directly search me over the Google. By that, it will show my profile. You can directly provide the results too. Okay, so you can, once if you have completed the things, you can just directly share that. You can connect with me, and I can also see and review the code. Okay, and sir, actually we just completed.
So thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for the wonderful session. So, guys, I hope you all taken the inputs from Veerakumar sir. So, yes, let's hope he is going to be one of the jury member. So, let's hope for that. So, thank you for a wonderful session. So, thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I can share this relevant stuffs with you as a code
Sure, sir.
files, as a try file. You can share with the students also.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Sure, sir. You can share it.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys. Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all. Thank you, guys. Thank you all.